Hey, everybody out there in Facebook land. Paul Sterling here, and I am joined by fellow coach Ayana from the Philippines, who is going to balance it out today. And we're going from feeling ignored to being adored. And one of the things we would love to do is have this be interactive. So we're not just talking to a screen. And the way that you can interact with us is through the comments. You can ask us questions. If we tap into something that really resonates with you, you can let us know. So we would love for you to interact with us. And we're going to take you on a journey from feeling ignored to being adored. So Ella, do you want to introduce yourself first? How did you get on this path of being a true love coach? True love. I love that from, what is it, The Princess Bride. It's true love.
Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Ella Ayana, and as you say in all of your other videos, every master was once a disaster. Definitely been through my share of disasters: physical abuse, sexual abuse, infidelity, just the worst valleys that you could go through in relationships. I really hit rock bottom multiple times, and I had to climb out of that with the help of a lot of lovely people, healers, and other coaches. But that's why I do the work that I do now today, because I have deeper empathy and understanding for people who have really been through abuse and powerful, soul-shaking experiences that they feel ashamed about, that they feel like they can't talk to just anyone about this stuff because just anyone is not going to understand. And because I've been there, even though I can never fully understand another person's experiences, I can deeply empathize because I've been through something similar.
So let me ask you a question about what you went through, because sadly, a lot of people have been through abuse in many forms, and there's a choice. And the choice, I get this originally from Carolyn Mays, is we all get wounded. Some of us get bitter, others get better. You chose to get better and then to share that better with others. So tell me what was that choice point? Because you could have just hated men, which would have been justifiable, but you chose to do something different.
Well, I really attribute my success to all my death and near-death experiences. One of my near-death experiences, because the abuse had gotten so bad, is I got punched straight in my core right here, and I stopped breathing. And yeah.
So everybody out there listening, take a breath in. And part of, well, let me just put it this way. I studied with Tony Robbins. One of the things Tony teaches, he teaches something called the fire walk. And now it's not because you need a practical skill, but it's like, if you can walk through the fire, what else can you do in your life? If you can do something you think is impossible, what else can you do? And part of the reason to listen to Ella is like, if she can get through this, like the abuse, the near death, the whole thing, what can I get through? What can I learn from this to make my life more magical?
Yeah. So when that happened, something happened that I never experienced before. When I was on the ground and struggling to breathe, everything went black, and I thought, this is it. But then there was this stream of light that was pulling me, and then on the top of the stream was just this bright core light. And it was just emanating, and it said, I've been here the whole time and I've got you.
Hmm. And I'm making up my own message there. Your work isn't done yet. We're sending you back to you've got some work to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm just here. We are all just here, and we're all beautifully us, no matter what. But yeah, that experience of being in that realm, because my mind wasn't there, nothing was there. It was just that near-death experience just really changed my life and the way I see things. Everything that everyone says about how there's always something there's always some benevolent force, no matter how you want to visualize it. That was how my being visualized it. But everyone else, we are all connected to this stream of light that is always guiding us, should we just choose to awaken to it. Or we can choose to close our eyes. Either way, the light never leaves.
Outstanding. And I'm gonna ask you some definite questions. So we'd love for people to check in. Where on the planet are you listening from? If you feel like it, I can read the comments, at least some of them. Some I don't get to read right away. So that's Ella. I'm Paul. I am a relationship and intimacy coach. I'm the best-selling author of Argue Less, Love More. And I have been a relationship coach for about over 25 years. And I think part of it, my journey started with studying with a guy named Tony Robbins. Most of you have heard of him. And then I've studied with a bunch of other people. Marshall Rosenberg was another big turning point in my life, the creator of nonviolent communication. So let's dive in and take a look at today's topic. And I think, Ella, you brought up something that's critical here. I do charts and diagrams for relationships. I try to take it so that people like me who are somewhat heady can understand it. And what makes a relationship great is when we feel grateful. And it becomes easy to win, hard to lose. And the other thing this is when relationships getting better and better. When it starts to getting worse and worse is we take each other for granted. And it becomes easy to lose and hard to win. And part of what, Ella, your story that I love is that people who've been through near death, not that you went through the abuse, I don't love that, but people who've been through near death tend to come back grateful. Mm-hmm. Grateful for being alive, grateful for relationships. So what can you, so you got the pain point. What turned you into somebody who's more of a transformational teacher? Because just because you survived, and I'm not downplaying that, it doesn't actually make you a teacher. There was something else that happened along the way here.
So the reason why I'm in this realm of twin flames was because I had met another person who is my twin flame. And all the twin flame teachings say that you must go within if you ever want to find relief from the pain. You cannot find it in another person, in another relationship. You must go really, really deep within. And so that's what motivated me. So all this pain, I say pain is a train. You can either ride it or you can be in front of it. But it's gonna move you either way. So I rode my
You
train
can't just avoid it.
No.
What if you drink enough alcohol or do enough like drugs or whatever?
Yeah. So I really went deep inside this train, and I reached the light at the end of the tunnel. Literally, literally the light at the end of the pain tunnel. And now, because I have reached this state of peace and calm, and that there's nothing outside of me, that it's all within, and this is the fulfillment that everyone is seeking, and this is what true love is.
Thank you. So let's look at today's topic, to go from feeling ignored, and how many of you can relate to feeling ignored? And this, so I'm clear here. My journey has been 1 divorce, 4 broken engagements. I had an older brother who basically had, whatever you want to call it, relationship magic. The women loved him, and it was painful to be around him because everybody gravitated to him. Friends, my ex-girlfriend, like one of the first crushes of my life, ended up sleeping with my older brother. It's like, and I debated becoming a monk. So not really, but it's like either master or monk. And monk seemed less painful and less work than becoming a master. But I have really worked at mastering. And how do you go from feeling ignored to being adored? And if you think about it, so Ella, I'm just going to ask you, if I was giving you $100 bills, when would you want me to stop?
Never.
Yeah, because it's meeting some precious need of yours. And what does that have to do with what we're training today is that typically, if you're in a relationship, you were adored at some point, and then it went bad, and you went from feeling adored to being ignored. Now, if somebody was giving you, and we got it, this is a light metaphor, it's not exact, but if somebody's giving you $100 bills, it's hard to ignore them. How does that relate in relationship? If somebody is meeting your precious needs, then it's hard to ignore them. You want more of that. And what happens in relationships, and by the way, so Ella and I haven't totally talked about this, but I'm going to ask you, we may have differences of opinions here because we come from different lines, but what's the number one most important reason to be in a relationship?
To meet your needs, Paul.
Yeah, and when you're saying it's like I'm here to meet my needs,
everyone.
You're here to meet your needs. And what happens when we stop getting our needs met in a relationship? Relationship starts to end.
Crumbles completely.
Right. The challenge we have is we have a culture of need shame. So we're embarrassed talking about our needs. We're embarrassed asking to get our needs met. So and I'd like to ask people, and I'm going to bring back up the screen, 3 different levels. Where are you now? So when it comes to needs, there is shame, embarrassed. By the way, I can spell things in several different ways, so I'm creative spelling here. Shame, embarrassed, and embraced. And I'd love to hear your journey on this in a second when I give a few more details. But shame, when I'm in shame about my needs, I feel broken. Like I have a stronger sex drive than most of my partners ever have. And there was a part of me that had a lot of shame around that. Like if I didn't have such a strong sex drive, I could have a great relationship. So shame is when you're saying to yourself, if only I was different, that basically there's something wrong with me for having these needs. The next level up is I'm embarrassed. I want you to meet my needs. I have this precious need. Maybe it's for a hug or contact or support. I'm embarrassed about my needs and I want you to meet them, but I'm not going to ask you. And if you don't read my mind and meet my needs, you don't love me. So that's the embarrassed level. And then up here is embraced. Now, I probably spelled that wrong. I think it's, anyway. But this is where you're like, I have this precious need, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share it, if you're willing to hug it. My beloved would ask, when I got home, would you hug me? She wanted that contact. So it's like she was embracing that precious need and then made a beautiful request. So how has your journey been from shame, embarrassed, embraced?
Ooh, difficult. When I started becoming aware that I was giving so much and then not letting in, light bulb went off and went, oh wow, I should just start asking for help. Seems simple, right? No, it was very difficult because one, there's no pathway in my brain for that behavior. Two, never has there been in the family line. Nobody asks for things. Everyone just kind of assumes somebody's gonna step in and meet their need if they hint enough, and they'll complain about how they're feeling. And that was the way of being within.
Well, one quick thing in there, a complaint in the world of nonviolent communication, that's one of the things that I've taught and stuff, but a complaint is a sort of a backwards request. Under every complaint is a request. And the thing that you're talking about here, and I'm going to hand it back, is that when we receive, it's a level of vulnerability. Giving, we can have a level of control. When we're receiving, it's like, it's much more vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how have you made friends with your vulnerability?
A deep inner child work, going within and meeting these past parts of myself and talking to them and conversing with them and going, how are you? I wasn't here for you all this time. And meeting their needs. So me meeting my needs, and then me talking to my inner selves and going, it's safe now. We can trust now because I'm keeping you safe.
The Allison Armstrong, who's an amazing relationship coach, she's been on the show before. She talks about, I think I've got it right, but for the feminine, safety is one of them, being seen and being supported. It's like create that Oh no. Oh, hi everybody. Thank you for sticking around. I got my whole computer crashed. I warned Ella that that might have been a possibility. It's grumpy today. So we're back, and yes, the video is definitely frozen. So sorry about that. Huh. So I'm dealing with tech shame right now. I can feel my head sweating a little bit. Um, if I was only perfect, this never would have happened. Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Um, I've got to bring back up my screen. So Ella, say something beautiful and wonderful. And
Yeah, we're back, folks.
yeah. So how did you get, well, I've asked you how you got to where you are now. So what is twin flames? Just to give us a quick idea, and then we're going to dive into getting our needs met.
Twin flames is just a really, really powerful soulmate experience to where people can't really get on with their life until they resolved this twin flame relationship, which is really just coming into that enlightenment and that union. So I take people from that devastating separation to true self-love.
Well, yeah, that the self-love is one of the biggest challenges we have.
Mm-hmm.
And blessings from Trinidad and Tobago. Wow. I'm zipping through, finding something to share here that I want to share that, for all of us to see. There we go. Okay. So moving from, one of the things that I was talking about to start with is from ignored to adored. Everything we talk about today is going to help you move from ignored to adored. So if you can talk about your needs in a relationship, you're more likely to get your needs met. And you're going to differentiate yourself from most people. Most people have needs constipation. That's a tough way of saying it. And it's a challenging journey. So I've got a slide up here of a trip I took to New York City a couple of years ago and was on the subway. And the challenge with the subway is there is 840 miles of track. There is 472 different stations. There are 27 lines. What does this have to do with relationships? Well, when I went down on the subway, I couldn't find my way around without a what?
A map.
Yes, thank you. So today, part of what we're going to do is give you a map. And what a map is important to do is go, if you're here and you want to go over here, here is the route to take. So what I'd like to do is tell people, here is sort of the picture. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And when you get really ignored, you end up down here in crisis. So the levels are crisis. That's where you're struggling to get along. Should I stay? Should I go? The next level up, conflict. And it's not just a conflict, is if it's like a perpetual state of conflict. Is it a daily occurrence? And it's stressful, and issues don't get resolved, they get recycled. If you're stuck in a rut, the same old patterns. It's not a good relationship. It's not a bad relationship. You're just kind of stuck. And it's like Groundhog Day. You're doing the same thing over and over again. Things aren't getting better. Things aren't going to get worse. And then I'm going to hand this to you, Ellen, and see your input on this. Good. It's satisfying, but you're settling because you know it could be great. One of the things I kid people about is the dogs. So Ella, I'm going to ask you this one. Just Do dogs like bones?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If you gave the dog a choice between a bone and a steak, which one would they choose?
The steak.
Exactly. So what it
Yeah.
is dogs settle for bones. They want steak. A lot of times we settle for good, but what do we want? We want great, but we don't know how to get it, so we're willing to settle. So what's your comment sort of on that journey from relationship disaster to relationship master? And I've been in all of these 5 stages. I am talking about my own journey here.
Yeah. Well, I definitely agree with you. I feel like the challenge with the great zone is that our bodies have this magical feature of making the people that are not so great for us very sparkly in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I really help people navigate. Is this sparkly because your body is trying to get you to heal some unconscious ism that you have? Or is it sparkly because it really is sparkly? And the relationships that are sparkly because they really are sparkly tend to be a gradual sparkle and not, and I'm not saying all couples, because we've all met that couple who, you know, sparkles off the bat and then got married within 2 months or whatever, and now they're still great. But for the majority of the people I work with, we work on that gradual sparkle, we work on that delayed gratification, and then we find that people do still have amazing sparkly relationships from being cultivated. And
Yeah, staying, like I said on that one slide earlier, staying in a state of gratitude. I have couples that I work with that are that have been together 20, 30 years and are still grateful to be in a relationship with this person. And I've couples have come to me that have only been together a year and they're already taking each other for granted. And it's easy to lose and hard to win. So it's a challenge. And this is that ongoing journey. So what I wanted to do is talk about the map. And Ella has made me simplify it because, okay, I'm going to scare everybody. This is going to be a scary picture for 2 seconds. Ready? And here's what it looks like all filled in. There we go. Back to that. What we're trying to do here, if you want to have a relationship that's remarkable, if you want to be adored, part of the thing you need to do is check out and see, is your partner actually capable of it? Are you capable of letting love in? Is your partner capable of letting love out and expressing it? So if you want lasting love, and if you do, just type in "I do" on there. That's a kind of a cute little comment at the bottom. If I do, there's 3 parts to it: availability, capability, willingness. How available are you emotionally, physically, mentally? And Ella, you talked about that for yourself. How available were you to actually receive love? You were great at giving it, hard time receiving it.
Closed off. Yeah.
Then the second part is how capable are you? So I am looking for my, yes, right here. This, a dentist friend of mine gave me this. This is a dentist drill. So if I have a drill and I have a book here, you know, how to do root canal, and I'll do it for $10, how many of you would be like going, yeah, I want to try to get a root canal by Paul? Well, I'm not trained in root canal, so I'm not what? I'm not capable.
You're not capable. Yep.
And then the third one is, are you willing? Are you available, capable, willing? Anything you want to say about those 3?
Something that's coming up for me right now is that a lot of people may force themselves into relationships to try and fit in. So then they might illusion themselves to thinking they are capable, willing, and available when deep down they aren't. So, but you take it away, Paul. What do you think about that?
Well, this goes to over here. So there's 3 sets. There is the heart set, skill set, and the mind set. And right here, what you're talking about is there's 3 things the skills need to do. Number 1 is clear up the past. Number 2 is to help you be present. And number 3 is create possibilities for the future. So what you just mentioned, if you don't clear up your past ends up where?
Patterning your present.
Yeah. And you have been, Ella, part of the reason I love doing the interview with you is you have a painful past, and yet you're still incredibly present. So that it is a possibility. So that's what I want people to see, is that here is an amazing example of this 3rd thing, which is possibility. Because if you don't clear up the past is in the present, there's no possibility for the future. So when it comes to skills, you're either under prepared or well equipped. And I've got to tell you, I was not well equipped for relationships. I was one of the underprepared. The other one that we talked about is the heart set. And in the heart set, we have 3 relationships in a relationship, not just one. We're friends, partner, lover. And by the way, I would love a round of applause from everybody watching right now, because see, one of my fears is I am dyslexic. Writing in public is one of my, like I can break out in a sweat. I misspell words, I get anxious. So me writing in public, because Ella said, you have to do that. You know, she seems so gentle and nice, but man, she's got some kick-ass stuff there. So she said, I can't just do a prepackaged, I have to write. So here I am.
I'm so warm that you're doing this, Paul. I'm so happy.
Oh, thank you. So this one is all about getting your needs met. You have needs as a friend, as a partner, as a lover. And so what happens for people, I'd love to hear whether you're feeling like your needs are a burden. And I definitely had times where my needs felt like a burden. Or do your needs feel precious or something like that? So, any comments from the feminine side looking at this? This is a very mental way of looking at it. Oh, thank you, Diane. She says, love your visual aids. Thank you. It's really sweet.
Yeah, that's why I, for the longest time, I can do it now, but I could not communicate my needs because I had this fear of, if I communicate my needs, I'm going to be a burden, and then this relationship is going to end, or, this person's going to leave, or if I communicate my need, pain is going to ensue. Need was not connected to preciousness, which is why I'm so happy that you're talking about this, Paul, and you're making needs a gift instead of a burden. Yeah.
So I want to back up. I want you to say that all again. I want people to, if you can relate to what Ella's saying right now, just I can relate or whatever it is, just say that again, because I think this is, we're suffering from a culture of need shame. It's like, especially here in America, I did it myself. I'm independent. I don't need anybody. And admitting that you have needs. So can you say that again?
Yeah. It's admitting that I had needs was connected in my brain to emotional pain. If I admit I have needs, I fear that this person is now going to leave me because I am too much. And it's about disassembling this pattern that came from our independent society and came from our unconscious past families or families of origin, and going, we can build a new pattern. We can build a new set of behaviors that go, hey, I'm worth it. I have needs because I'm human. I need to eat. I need to sleep. I need love. That's the most important need of all, guys.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
Yeah,
Allison said, women demand too much and ask for too little.
It's over. Allison, we're in 2021 now, honey. Women are all up here marching, saying we need stuff, and we're getting stuff, and we're getting love, and period. Yep.
Absolutely, and asking for it, though, asking for it. And I think there's a whole new women's revolution. So the first one was about power and prosperity, the right to vote, the right to own things, the right to have money, all of those rights. And I think the next revolution that's happening now, or evolution, or however you want to say it, is that it's about pleasure and passion, because men have kind of run that. And now it's women are going like, I don't think so. You're no longer in charge of my pleasure or my passion. It's like, now it's owning that. Like, and it's for men too, to own their pleasure and their passion in a way that is beautiful and vulnerable and courageous.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like when I work with energy too, we all have masculine energy, right? And feminine energy. And it's about balance, having a healthy balance of what works for you, what works for each person. I find that whenever an energy is too polarized and expressing itself too much or too little in a person, and it's not balanced, that's when we start to see problems. Like with men, if they're way, way, way too masculine, it's, a sign of like an underlying level of insecurity. Same with women, because women can be too masculine. Now with the revolution has been great with, I don't want to get us too off topic on a tangent here, because I do want to get back to it.
Right.
But oh my gosh, I love this topic, but we will get back.
Well, we'll definitely come back and talk about masculine and feminine. And I think that there's a difference. Like a lot of times people are saying, if a woman they're saying, oh, she might be too masculine. And a lot of masculine, even in men, is being armored. It's not masculine. It's not the masculine energy. It's an armored, shut down wall energy. And it's learning how to dance with these and learning the power of it. So yes, we're going to bounce to the third one. So heart set, skill set, mindset. And in the mindset, there are 3 areas, and all of these are basically unconscious, but they are running the show. Our habits, our patterns, our beliefs. Whoops. Ha! I have an eraser. There we go. So the idea here is, do they sabotage or support you? All right, so I realized I didn't spell out sabotage because I knew I was going to spell it wrong. Okay, there we go. That was me protecting myself. So do your habits, patterns, and beliefs sabotage or support you? Do they bring you closer? Do they make someone want to connect to you, or does it push them away? So some habit, I'll talk about a habit or two of mine, and you can look and see which ones you might have that we can use as examples. I love coffee, so the coffee is a habit. Now, how does this help or not help in relationships? I notice if I drink more than 1 cup of coffee a day, if I drink 2 or 3 cups of coffee today, my nervous system is I'm a little more high strung. I'm a little less fun to be around. So it may be a great habit for me because I get stuff done, but it's a habit that sabotages the relationship. So me sticking to 1 cup of coffee a day is what I do to support the relationship. Another habit is I work out almost daily, like either a mountain bike ride or a jog or Tai Chi, or do something daily because it makes my nervous system more fun to be around. And so if we look at it, we might go, well, my workout schedule is just about me. It's not about the relationship. It's got nothing to do with my partner. It's got a lot to do with your partner. Because if you're not taking care of your body and your health and your nervous system, you're no fun. You're basically sabotaging the relationship. So I want to just see if you want to dive into any habits, patterns, and beliefs that might be either supporting or sabotaging.
Really, the pattern or habit or belief that I had in the past was that belief of people who are supposed to be loving aren't, for example, parental figures or primary caregivers. So I had that belief of, I was closed off and of shutting people out or isolating myself. That's a huge habit, more than just coffee, right?
Right.
So,
the other one, if I can bring it up, that you've already said, is you had a belief that if you expressing needs made you needy and made you not, people wouldn't want to be with you. So there's a belief that is running the show. The thing about beliefs is oftentimes we don't even know they're there. I have a whole exercise I take people through to reveal your beliefs. And a lot of times their beliefs will be like, men suck. They will eventually lie, cheat, steal, whatever. Men are bad, and I want one. Women do this, and they will betray you or whatever, or they just want money or whatever. There's this belief, and I want one. So it's like we have these beliefs it's like driving around with the foot on the gas and a foot on and the emergency brake on. And we're wondering why smoke's coming out of our ears and we can't make a relationship last.
Yeah, it's good work that we're doing when we see which foot is where we open our eyes to our beliefs like this, guys. Because then we can take our foot off the brake, right?
Yeah, and we've got to make the invisible visible to do that. That is basically when I talk about the mindset, that's your ROS, your relationship operating system. So I am going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to talk about 7 core areas. And this is going to be, you might want to watch this like several times. Watch it on replay because we're going to move a little bit faster. Ella's going to try to help keep me from overwhelming you. But these 7 core skills are what makes the difference between a mediocre and a magical relationship. If you want to have a remarkable relationship, what you need is remarkable relationship skills. And number 1 is all about communication. And communication is a tool that was created to get our needs met. The challenge is, as relationships have evolved, our communication skills haven't always evolved. Like men didn't talk about their feelings. I have had clients that were trained in the military come in and sit down and talk to me and say, I would rather jump out I would rather jump out of an airplane at night into enemy territory with people that are trying to kill me than sit here and talk about my feelings and needs in front of my wife. And that is heartbreaking what our culture does to men. There's plenty of heartbreaking things that culture does to women, but it so strips us of our feelings like we're not supposed to feel. And the thing is, we're easier to manipulate, we're easier to do that and all of that. Oh, I just got, sorry, I got distracted there. ADD. So what we want to do is give people communication tools so they can communicate about almost everything. So one of the things, if we're reactive, our communication is combative, collapsing, we're full of bad, stupid, wrong, and no one feels heard, understood, and valued. And what's the impact of that in a relationship? How long will a relationship last if the communication sucks? Wow, I got really technical there. So, Ella, what's your quick insight? And then Diana, Diana asked a question about supporting my inner child.
Well, I agree with everything that you said with the communication. I think, again, with my work, it's all about the underlying energy that we bring into, but we also talk about earlier how it's all about your past and what you're bringing into the relationship that affects that. Mm-hmm. And it's really helpful to build these new communication skills, because then now we're changing the pattern of the present.
Well, here I'm going to give a quick example of that. So this is when we get triggered, there's 3 different places we can go. Over here, and it is collapsed. Now collapsed, that's a puppy, like when a big dog comes up and challenges the puppy rolls over, lies on its back, says, I'm not a problem, I collapse. And it's sort of lose-win. And even though at this point in my life, I am 6'3", 230 pounds, spent 18 years as a commercial fisherman in Alaska, I am a bit of a dude's dude, rough and tumble. But my nervous system, due to how I was brought up, this is the drama line. Mm-hmm. So my nervous system was conditioned for survival. I needed to collapse because my brother was conditioned for combative, and he would beat me until I collapsed. Ella, you have been through some brutal stuff too, and it's like it would be normal for your nervous system when confronted to want to collapse, to protect itself. Yeah. What have you done to kind of like heal that so you can be more courageous?
Just make the conscious choice of who I'm spending time around and seeing what their character is before getting too attached or too close to that person. So it's really prevention. Mm-hmm. And if I'm with somebody who is combative, then I really see their inner child. Because I've worked so much with mine, I don't really take it personally, because mm-hmm. those are the situations that are just, walking out every day in life. You run into these people that are a little more cranky or a little more combative towards others. I just see them from a compassion. You can write that down. Like act from a space of compassion.
Yeah, and compassion is that courageous place to be. So courage, compassion, to be vulnerable, to lean in. For 8.5 years, I taught inmates in prison about compassionate communication and nonviolent communication, and how not to be combative or not to collapse. because I still have to consciously work on it when in a relationship, when things get heated. And in most relationships they do. Doesn't mean that they get violent, means that they get heated. It's tempting to collapse and become a martyr. For other people, it's tempting to be combative, that they need to fight for their needs. Where I'm working and spending more time is being courageous. So I'm going to go through, we could have spent the whole hour just on communication. I'm going to go through the 7 different things, and Diane, I will try to get your thing in there too, answer her question about my inner child. So number 1 was communication. Number 2 is about getting your needs met. Are they a burden or do they feel precious? If you ignore them and avoid them, you're going to have one level of relationship. If you can embrace them and understand them and actually have a vocabulary to ask for them, you'll have a totally different level of relationship. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you how you can, well, actually, I can do it right now. If you want to know more about these things, you can join my Facebook group. And there's videos on the top 10 needs. This is the Facebook group right here. Group's Remarkable Relationship, and it will spend some time going through the top 10 needs. That's a critical one if you want to have a remarkable relationship. And if you really want to feel adored, your needs need to be adored. Number 3, conflict. Either they get recycled and spiral down and drive you apart, or get resolved. And how are you on conflict now, Ella?
I see conflicts as fertilizer. I see it as like a sparring zone. Like, it's not bad. It's something, yeah, it's something that can bring you closer.
See, now, and if you listen to her, what she's revealing in her language is her operating system, her beliefs. A lot of people, conflict is scary and to be avoided at all cost. She's saying it's fertilizer and can help the relationship grow. So there's an expression. If you start to learn how to listen, you can listen not only to what they're saying, but what are their underlying beliefs? What's their operating system? And that's a beautiful operating system. Number 4 is we all have wounds, and we've talked a lot about this in this call, but either you get bitter or you get better. If you get bitter, you avoid feeling those feelings and you build walls. If you get better, you can heal. And one of the things, Ella, you've talked about, although you didn't say the word exactly, but having good boundaries.
Yeah.
There's a difference between walls and boundaries. If I don't trust that my boundaries are going to be kept, then I build a wall. And as we're going through this, I'd love to hear from people, which one of these makes the most sense for you? Which one do you need to work on and would transform your relationship? Number 5, trust. And when trust is broken, it's unkept words, boundaries aren't respected. And there's 2 sides of trust. One is, do I trust you? Like, do I trust Ella to keep her word, to keep her agreements, to respect my boundaries? But the more important trust, which most people don't talk about, is, would I trust myself in a relationship with this person? Would I keep my boundaries? Would I respect my word? Or would I give up my, in your case, personal safety to be in this relationship? What do I give up? If I'm not taking care of myself, I'm untrustworthy within myself in this relationship. And just so that people know, if they want to, I'm going to switch the link for a second. This is Ella's link. And if you feel like you want to explore and learn a little bit, yes, there it is. There it is. Get a hold of her and set up an appointment and spend some time and get clear on what it is that's going on in your relationships and what you can do about it. So, and Ella, I'm going to have you talk about that in a second. I just want to go through 2 more here. Number 6 is intimacy. And is intimacy avoided? Is it embarrassing? Is it uncomfortable? Does vulnerability make feel bad? Oh, whoops. I am not showing the screen. I am looking at it. Okay, intimacy. This is number 6. Is it embarrassing? Do you avoid it? Or is it embraced? Can you talk about what you want? Can you talk about your needs in the bedroom, in the living room, in the relationship? Or do you want to avoid them? And there are 3 levels of needs. I call it 3 shades of intimacy, rather. There's emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, and sexual intimacy. Anything you want to add on that one, Ella?
No, I think you've got it straight on the head, and we can go to the 7th one.
Yay, number 7. This is critical because every relationship's going to have differences. The question is, do your differences drive you apart? And do you believe that differences make you weaker and something is wrong? Or do your differences bring you together and make you stronger? So those are the 7. And what I'd love to do is, this is what they all look like together, but if you could just type in which one would make the biggest difference in your relationship right now. If you focused on communication, needs, conflict resolution, wounds, triggers, trust, intimacy, differences, which one makes the biggest difference for you right now? And so, Ella, which one are you working on right now?
Definitely intimacy and trust.
And
Yeah.
I would say wounds for me, and conflicts, and always communication. Like communication, and God, I guess I'm working on a lot. Communication needs. So I'd love to hear from other people what ones resonate with them, and if they could make a change in there, it would make a big difference in their relationship. And Diane, part of what I do for my inner child is I need to do things that are fun, that are playful, you know, even some video games, biking on a daily basis, but also letting my inner child that I know that I'm going to create a safe space for them. I'm going to really make it a healing place in the relationship, and I'm going to be a stand for them. And people are saying, like, boundaries is one. Another one that somebody's saying is communication and trust. So thank you, everybody, for listening in. From ignored to be adored. Now, here's the last thing that I want to do is, it is decision time, because we're not here just for information. Information doesn't always create transformation. So the decision is, do I get help? Do I take this on, or do I try to do it by myself? And my God, I have wasted so many years trying to do it by myself. And it was really painful. And one of my mentors and trainers, somebody I used to work for, Tony Robbins, said, if you want to turn decades into days, don't cut a trail, follow a path. So I'll tell you a tiny bit about my path, my history. That was my dad. That was my mom. They loved each other, spent 18 years together, but they couldn't get along. They did not have the communication tools that Ella teaches, that I teach, and they went through an incredibly painful divorce. When I went through my divorce, I called my mom and said, how many years were you together? I didn't know it at the time. Now I know it by heart, 18 years. And I go, wow. That's when I got my divorce. We were been together for 18 years. That is me when I had hair. And the last thing I'll say about, well, not the last thing, I'll say one more thing about me, hand it to you, Ella, so that you can tell people like a 1 minute on what they would get if they came and did a session with you.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a book, Argue Less, Love More, became a bestseller in 5 areas: counseling, couples and family therapy, marriage, healthy relationships, and #1 in dysfunctional relationships. I don't know. I didn't even know that was a category in Amazon, but I guess it is. My video on Amazon's been seen over 6 million times at this point, 6,100,000 times. It's all about intimacy. And if you want to do more, well, I'm going to hand it to you. And then I'm going to tell people if they want to do more with me, I'm going to give them an option. And if they want to do more with you, I'd like them to have that option. So if Ella resonates with you, and if you want to take this on, so that's #1. Do you want to take it on? If you want to take it on, Ella, what do you do in your breakthrough session or whatever you're calling it?
Yeah, in my clarity call, we go through what you're going through right now, and then we talk about what your dream true love relationship would be and how to get there. And I'll be your fairy godmother along this fairy tale of yours that's going to come true.
Outstanding. And how long does they typically one of these sessions?
So I'm going to have people call in just for 15 minutes to see if I'm even a good fit and if I can help you. And if I can do that, then we're going to go into another 45-minute to 60-minute session, just depending on wherever that being is
And I want people to get an idea. Ella's not going to heal you from 20 years of pain in a 40-minute session. It's getting clear. Where are you, where you want to go. And I've had a session with her, so it helped get you clear. And if for some reason you resonate more with my crazy side and my 25, almost 30 years of doing this, you can have a session with me, arguelesslovemore.net/clarity. So that's a next step. We get clear where you are, #1, what's going on, what's working, what's not working in your relationship. #2, where you want to go, where you want to be a year from now. And #3, what are the roadblocks and obstacles? So here are 3 next steps you can do. I'm going to take that off. And I would love to hear, by the way, I would love to hear what you got from today, what resonated with you. So if for some reason you want to stay connected to what I do, join my Remarkable Relationship Facebook group, groups/Remarkable Relationship. And you'll get all of the videos that I do. I do 2 a week, Thursday evening, Sunday afternoon. If for some reason you want to have a breakthrough, you don't want just more information, you want transformation, come and get a breakthrough session. And it starts by taking a survey. I need to know where you are. Help me, help you. Go to arguelesslovemore.net/survey. Lastly, if you want a free copy of my book, Argue Less, Love More, and you go to Amazon right now, $19.97, well worth it, especially if you like to hold a book in your hand. If you want a free PDF copy, an electronic copy, go to arguelesslovemore.net/free book, and you will have to enter your name and email. And yes, I will let you know about upcoming events. I'm not great at it, so you're not going to get a barrage of information from me, but actually you'll get a little bit, and that's it for today. So Ella, any closing thoughts? And thank you so much for joining me from the Philippines, and thank you for the work that you do.
Yeah, I'd like to just center everyone in a deep breath. I'm sending out so much love to everyone that is watching and with us right now. You are loved, and love is on its way to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ella. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And Diane is there saying, thank you, Ella. All right, people, if you got something from this, I'd love to hear what it was. And if you think somebody else will get something from this, please, tag them, share it with them. And thank you so much. Thank you all. And Ella, thank you for your gentle spirit. And thank you for, I'm touched. Like as soon as I start to say it, thank you for your courage.
Mm.
Thank you for choosing to get better rather than bitter.
Mm-hmm.
And to be an example of what's possible,
Mm-hmm.
And to be both in your gentle feminine power and to be a courageous warrior for love.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, everybody, have an awesome day.